It's beautiful. You know, just when I thought this country was about to go off a cliff, we're seeing some great rulings from the federal courts. This from the district court. You know that crazy policy really did. The Biden administration came up with it, that they would withhold funds from public schools if biological boys who identified as girls were not allowed to use the girls' bathroom immediately. That's the kind of crazy stuff that's happening out there from this administration. And a federal court today said, no, you've gone too far. They've actually enjoined, that means restrain the implementation of this crazy policy from the Biden administration. This is a huge win for sanity, for families. Schools should not have to deal with these issues, forcing them down their throats, gender issues and transgender and who can try out for the girls' team. How about girls, huh? How about girls? You can't expel anybody, and you shouldn't, for these issues, but to accommodate them at this level, bathrooms, sports teams, schools have other things to worry about, right? Like education. This will, of course, drive the trans community a little bit nuts, and you know what they'll accuse people like me of.
This idea that trans women are suddenly going to take over women's sport is an irrational fear of trans women, which is the dictionary definition of transphobia.
This dog whistle for transphobia.
It is necessary for us to address transphobia around the world.
They legitimize homophobia and transphobia that leads to violence against LGBTQ plus people.
This entire bill is rooted in homophobia, in transphobia.
It is also true that transphobia is a real problem.
All right, I'm not transphobic. I am a little bit trans awkward because this crazy conversation with the pronouns has been forced on people, and it is a crazy conversation.
Hi, I'm Jackson Bird. I'm a YouTuber and writer from New York City. My pronouns are he, him, his.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frances Tolino. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Adam, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
And I'm Asia. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs.
All right, this is trans annoying, and that's a difference from transphobia. This is annoying, and it is a waste of time, and they're forcing it on all aspects of society, even science. Do you know archaeological bones that were dug up years ago? They're having a debate about what they should be named. A new school of thought within archaeology is pushing scientists to think twice about assigning gender to ancient human remains, arguing scientists cannot know how an ancient individual identified themselves. In other words, the famous Lucy, a Homo sapien that lived 3 million years ago, her bones were found in 1974 in the Ethiopian mountains. Well, Lucy may have been transgender. They know Lucy was a female, but what was Lucy thinking about her gender? We don't want to call Lucy Lucy. We have to... Crazy stuff. Just as crazy, perhaps more so though, Leah Thomas, the Woman of the Year. There is a push to make her the Woman of the Year, the NCAA Woman of the Year, nominated by the University of Pennsylvania. Leah Thomas, the swimmer, was a man, I think, up until her sophomore year, then transitioned and started winning races like crazy. And there's Leah, which swimmer in the middle, way, way, way in the lead. Once Leah started identifying as a woman, she literally blew the biological women out of the water. Is this transphobic? No, I think this is just trans annoyed because it's gone too far. And men cannot have children. That should not be a controversial statement, but believe it or not, it is. That individual is a biological woman who transitioned to manhood, so therefore they say men can have children. Josh Hawley was beautifully astonished by this revelation.
I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
Denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads.
And by the way, why would a woman who transitions to a man go through the trouble of taking those hormones, of applying an artificial penis, yet keeping the uterus and having a child. So there are possibly 2 people like this in the entire country, and they're trying to rewrite federal policy around these 2 individuals. How did Joe Biden put it?
For all transgender Americans watching at home, especially young people, you're so brave. I want you to know your president has your back.
President has your back. The presidents used to talk about much more important things, but this is his priority. And appointing individuals like Dr. Rachel Levine, he had to do it, I guess. He had to do it to appease the woke left, and look what we got.
We really want to base our treatment and to affirm and to support and empower these youth, not to limit their participation in activities in sports, and even limit their ability to get gender affirmation treatment in their state.
Gender affirmation treatment in their state. We won't limit the ability. Gender affirmation treatment for children. Sex change operations for children. That's Dr. Rachel Levine. And Rand Paul, he tried so hard. I give him so much credit putting the brakes. He tried to put the brakes on that crazy nomination.
What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
She was evasive on purpose because she knew the answers would horrify even some Democrats. Rand Paul, Dr. Rand Paul, thank you. But unfortunately, he could not stop her nomination. She was confirmed. And now that she safely has the job, she can come out and publicly say, yes, children who want to should have their breasts amputated right away, right away. But there are great people in this country who are saying no, like that judge in Tennessee. Sir, well done. Well done. He probably doesn't want the credit, and he decided this on narrow legal lines, but that's fine. Also, well done. Those swimmers, the female swimmers, the biological female swimmers from the University of Pennsylvania, they've been through a lot, and they were outshined by that creep who showed up, Leah Thomas. They penned a beautiful letter to their administrators at the University of Pennsylvania. Some of what they brought up, and I think this is very powerful. We have been told that if we spoke out against Leah's inclusion into women's competitions, that we would be removed from the team or that we would never get a job offer. Wow. To be sidelined or beaten by someone competing with the strength, height, and lung capacity advantages that can only come with male puberty has been exceedingly difficult. These are great women. We support Leah's mental health, and we ask Penn and the Ivy League to support ours as well. Wow, one more. Sport is competitive by definition, and Leah's wins, records, and honors should not come at our expense. The women who have worked their entire lives to earn a spot on the Penn women's swimming team. Well, they're adding insult to injury, trying to make Leah Thomas the Woman of the Year. Knock yourselves out. You know who was another hero? Yeah, I actually like her. Caitlyn Jenner. And I'll tell you what I like about Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn does not make a big deal about her gender identity. She likes to talk about politics and aviation and sports. Doesn't make her personal decision a big deal, and has come out and said that biological men should not be playing in women's sports, and has also said these decisions about permanently and irreversibly removing organs, kids should not be doing that. I like Caitlyn Jenner. I also like Peter Thiel. Remember him? Brilliant technologist. He started PayPal, I think, and made a bundle of money as a venture capitalist investor in Facebook. He talked about the good old days.
When I was a kid, The great debate was about how to defeat the Soviet Union, and we won. Now we are told that the great debate is about who gets to use which bathroom. This is a distraction from our real problems. Who cares?
Well, Joe Biden and the crazy woke left, and they're even bigger now than they were in 2016. They're not even embarrassed to be pushing this stuff. And they should be. And yes, I'm going to call it the good old days when we had an American president who didn't stand up and talk about trans kids and sniff little kids, by the way, when they came out and said America is capable of doing amazing things, and we will beat the Russians to the moon.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
8 years later, we did it. 8 years. Seems like a long time, but it's really not that long. 7 years ago, less than 7 years ago, Donald Trump started running for president. Think of the stuff we could have gotten done if this country wasn't so obsessed with the silly things, and if they let Donald Trump have a little bit of bandwidth to focus on the big things.